Good afternoon, everyone, and thank you so much for joining us today for this webinar regarding our Inclusive Practices Project. As always, we like to begin by sharing our vision and mission at the Division of Elementary and Secondary Education, and it is our vision, especially here in the Office of Special Education, to transform Arkansas to lead the nation in student-focused inclusive education. And our mission is to provide leadership, support, and service to schools, districts, and communities so every student graduates prepared for college, career, and community engagement. As you guys know, you've signed up for this webinar to get more information about our Inclusive Practices PLC project. Just a brief overview, and this information may be a little bit repetitive as we go through it. But here's just a brief overview of what the project is. It is a professional learning communities at work project to build that culture within the school in order to promote continuous improvement. The project will increase levels of student achievement through teacher collaboration, which we believe collaboration is the most inclusive practice that you could employ within a building or a district. And also, increased levels of focus on learning, a results orientation for all students with an intentional focus on outcomes for students with disabilities. We also hope that the project would increase the number of students with disabilities being educated in the general education content classrooms. We want to increase access to core instruction for all students, increase academic performance as measured by district and state assessments, and increase knowledge of innovative service delivery models, including RTI, universal design for learning, and high leverage practices to promote inclusion. With this project, this will be our third cohort of schools. If you wanted to reach out and discuss how this project has gone in any of the past project schools, here's a list of those schools. Feel free to reach out to any of them. I know when I was in the building, if I wanted to see what was going well in schools, I wanted to speak to someone in those schools. So this year's cohort of schools, the 21-22 project schools, Caldwell Elementary at Benton, Carroll Smith Elementary at Osceola, East Hills Middle in Greenwood, Lakeside Junior High at Lakeside, McNair Middle in Fayetteville, Rivercrest Elementary in Rivercrest, Waldron Elementary in Waldron. And then if you wanted to speak with someone from cohort 1, which was the 2021 pilot, you could reach out to Angie Grant Elementary in Benton, Grace Hill Elementary in Rogers, Prescott Elementary in Prescott, or Raymond Orr Elementary in Fort Smith. The purpose of the project, again, to develop and expand that PLC at work process within selected schools, to create school sites that serve as a working laboratory for the PLC at work process, conducting action research and sharing best inclusive practices with other schools throughout Arkansas. Again, I want to reiterate that if you apply for this project and are selected to participate in this project, you must agree that your doors will be open to any of the schools in your area, in your co-op, in our state, so that they could see what is working and how this is going in your school. Also, to promote an intentional focus on inclusive practices to ensure that students who are IEP eligible, as well as other groups of struggling learners, have meaningful access to core instruction. Really trying to break down those two separate silos of education where we go from my kids to your kids to where we're collaborating around our kids. To continue the overview of the project, selected schools in partnership with your educational cooperative will be matched with a PLC at work associate from Solution Tree. Schools will receive 12 days of on-site support as they deepen and sustain the PLC process with a focus on inclusive practices and culture. Each school will create action plans that focus on increasing student achievement through aligned curriculum, formative assessment practices, and proven instructional strategies. Our intended outcomes for the project would be to strengthen the current PLC at work culture by ensuring that all subgroups of students are addressed and that their needs are addressed. Increase the number of students with disabilities being taught to grade level expectations and who are making progress towards proficiency on grade level standards. increase access to grade level standards and rigorous curriculum, and also increase knowledge and implementation of innovative service delivery models. Continued intended outcomes following full implementation. We'd like schools to have an increased level of student achievement through teacher collaboration, to continue that relentless focus on learning, and a results orientation for all students with an intentional focus, again, on outcomes for students with disabilities. Increased academic performance is measured by district and state assessments, and increased collaboration between the district and the corresponding regional educational cooperative for sustainability of the project. I want to re-emphasize how important it is that the district have that ongoing collaboration throughout this project with their educational cooperative. The educational cooperative must be involved in this project. We want those specialists from the co-ops to be involved in the training, in the coaching, one for sustainability of the project, but also so that they can learn from what's happening within this school and share it with other schools that the co-op may be working with in that region. Key components of the project: professional learning provided through a hybrid model of on-site training, observation, and coaching by trained and certified associates. Print and video resources that are tailored to the needs of the school in support of the learning. And attendance at Solution Tree registration events after discussion with school PLC associate. So once you meet with your associate from Solution Tree and you meet with your coach and that needs assessment is done, then you can determine which events that you may want your team or staff to register for. District is responsible for travel expense. So what can you expect? You can expect a PLC at Work associate to be on site 12 days at each of the project schools. Those days will be a combination of on-site training, observation, coaching, and other job-embedded staff development. There may be some times when you need to make accommodations for teachers to be out of the classroom for training. There will be additional web conferences and virtual trainings with the building principal, with other building leaders, as well as the school's leadership team, collaborative teams, and individual teachers. Educational service cooperative literacy and math specialists shall be included in the training. So here it is again, the importance of involving your co-op, literacy and math specialists in the project. I also want to take an opportunity to discuss this piece about the building leader. This project will require a heavy amount of time for the building principal. If you don't have a building principal who has a desire to lead this project in their building, this may not be the project for you. It's great that special ed directors may be there to assist the building principal, or curriculum directors from the district or superintendent may be there to assist the principal, participate in the trainings, but this is really a principal-led project. The schools will fully implement the 3 big ideas of the PLC at Work with fidelity, with the guidance of a trained certified PLC at Work associate, and an intentional focus, again, on inclusive practices and culture. Eligibility and selection. Any K-12 public school or charter school within Arkansas can apply for this project. Priority will be given to schools with additional targeted support status or designation due to their performance of students with disabilities as identified under the Arkansas ESSA plan. Efforts will be made to ensure that equitable geographic distribution across the state will be made. All schools intending to apply must submit a letter of intent. Letters of intent information will be emailed to all superintendents, LEA supervisors, and building principals at the completion of today's webinar. Applications will only be sent to those schools that have submitted a letter of intent. All letters of intent must be received by 5 p.m. on March 18th. Schools participating in the PLC project cohorts 4, 5, or 6 are ineligible to participate due to ongoing intensive support provided by the state. So again, this letter of intent that we will send out information via email blast at the end of the webinar today to all those people, superintendents, LEA supervisors, building principals. if you're intending to apply, you must make sure to complete the letter of intent. Okay, and I'm going to go over that a little more here shortly. Selection process. It involves the following. One, you complete the application, send it to us, we receive it. Two, selection committee review. Each application will go through a selection committee review. Those will be scored, and then we will hold finalist interviews. After we have the finalist interviews, the project sites will be selected and schools will be notified, and it will be announced. Here's some of the contents of the application. Cover page, letter from Educational Service Cooperative, an introduction, school demographic data, which should include all of the following: special education demographic data, student-teacher ratios, teacher numbers, average tenure of staff, applicant needs, school structures, initiative implementation, project commitment, stakeholder involvement and support, and sustainability. Again, it's extremely important that when completing the application, you address every one of these headings in the application. If you do not address one of the headings in the application, your application will not be reviewed. Commitments of the Inclusive Practices Project. Engage in ongoing targeted professional development to deepen PLC at work practices. Support teams, including special education professionals, and the structures necessary for implementing a PLC. Increase inclusive practices within the school. Practice gradual release of responsibility as the school team deepens their PLC at work structures and creates plans to sustain the PLC at work process after the project is ended. Develop plans for continued teacher training and coaching after the project has ended. Establish and practice a belief system that all students are capable of learning at high levels, and teachers accept the responsibility for making this outcome a reality. Serve as a learning lab for other schools to visit in order to build capacity throughout the state of Arkansas. Process for selecting schools. Schools are going to be selected through this rigorous application process that we've been talking about. Once those applications have been submitted, an evaluation process will occur and determined by a committee of education professionals who are knowledgeable of the PLC at work process. The project will be funded through a grant to the district's cooperative partner. Rubrics, including evaluation criteria, will be sent with the application. Selected schools will serve as learning sites for other schools. Efforts will be made to ensure equitable geographic access and distribution across the state. Once the finalists are chosen, interviews will be conducted. Only applications that have addressed sections 3 and 4 in their entirety will be reviewed. Applications must be received no later than 5 p.m., and that is Central Standard Time on April 15th of 2022. The document should be double-spaced with a minimum of 12-point font. Applicants must be clear and concise with responses on each component. Applications may be mailed or sent electronically. If sent electronically, documents should be submitted as a Microsoft Word or Adobe PDF file. The document should be emailed to michelle.waldo@ade.arkansas.gov. If you mail it, please include a hard copy, and hard copy applications should be addressed and sent to Michelle Waldo, Policy Development Coordinator, Arkansas Department of Education, 1401 West Capitol Avenue, Suite 450, and that is in Little Rock, as you see here on the slide. Here's a timeline. Letters of intent due to DESE by March 18th. Applications will be emailed to the point of contact by April 1st. Applications due April 15th. Evaluation period, April 18th through the 22nd. Finalist interviews, April 25th through May 6th. Notification of award, May 13th, with a tentative project start date of July 2022. For more information, please feel free to visit our website. Today's Zoom has been recorded and will be posted on the Inclusive Practices Project website. In order to get there, you can use this link, or afterwards, if you come to just come to the DESE website, you could go to Offices all the way down here at the bottom, Special Projects, click on that. The very first tab under Special Projects on this left-hand side is Inclusive Practices Project. You can click on it and find all the information that we've discussed with you today. Overview of the project, timeline information, and who to contact for more information if needed. Also, while we're here, this is a great place to go for guideline for the letter of intent. If you want to get a head start, go ahead and start working on it. Again, information requiring information about the letter of intent. It is the required first step of the application process. Please review each section in its entirety, okay? Then once you get down here to the bottom, process for eligible schools to respond. You must respond with a letter of intent in order to receive an application. And again, the letter of intent should be no more than 2 pages, double spaced, 12-point font. Following information must be included in your letter of intent. Name of school, primary point of contact with email address and phone number, brief demographic data with a focus on the school special education population, description of current PLC practices, reasons for applying, intended outcomes that you'd like to see for your school, describe the level of support from your superintendent and building leadership and educational service cooperative. Letters of intent, again, can be submitted electronically to Michelle Waldo, and you may mail a hard copy, and here's the information for Michelle right here at the bottom. Last but not least, the deadline for the letter of intent is March 18th. That concludes our webinar for today. Should you have any additional questions, please don't hesitate to reach out to me, Matt Sewell. Here's my information, or Missy Wally. She can help you get the information that you might need. Also, Dr. Jeff Adams, who's on this webinar today, if you have his contact information, he can assist with gathering information for you as well. Thank you again for joining us on this Friday afternoon. Hope you have a great weekend and look forward to seeing your letter of intent come in and your application soon. Thank you.